Okay, so New York Fashion Week kicks off today, and I am still thinking about how strong Copenhagen Fashion Week was just a few weeks ago. So as I'm watching New York this week, I am wondering, will Copenhagen challenge New York's spot as one of the big four Fashion Week cities? Let's dig into this a little bit. Copenhagen Fashion Week was back in August, and it's generally regarded to be the fifth biggest fashion week behind Paris and Milan and London and New York. And since it implemented sustainability requirements back in 2020, Copenhagen has really started to carve out a bigger name for itself among the fashion cities. A couple of the things that really stood out to me from Copenhagen are moving away from seasonality and focusing more on the art of wardrobe building, which is very much in line with what consumers are looking for right now. Also, Copenhagen's Progressive DNA is attracting innovators from other cities. So we saw London-based designers like Sinead O'Dwyer here. We also saw Paolina Russo showing in Copenhagen this last month. And then the range of creative really continues to challenge the idea that sustainability has a very specific aesthetic. There's such a range of aesthetic and creativity in Copenhagen that's pretty exciting. Also, the street style in Copenhagen is just fantastic. This is what's in my head as I'm looking at the New York schedule this week, and I'm wondering if we're going to see the same energy that we saw at Copenhagen. New York Fashion Week is kind of a tale of two cities. So there are the independent designers that New York is famous for cultivating, and then we also have the commercial giants like Ralph Lauren, Coach, Tommy Hilfiger. These are almost two entirely separate industries in a way, different customers, different audiences. So I always find the tension between these two tracks at New York Fashion Week really fascinating. So I'm going to be watching this really closely this week. And when it comes to New York Fashion Week, there's really two things that I'm looking for from New York this week. So first, it's an understatement to say that American identity is in flux at the moment. We're in the middle of an election year here in the U.S. You might have heard. It's potentially the most important election in most of our lifetimes. So I'm going to be looking for statements and commentary on the American identity this week from New York. There's so many aesthetic tropes associated with America, but as we continue to evolve as a country and go through immense periods of change, these aesthetics have to evolve too. So I'll be watching for that from the shows this week. And number two, what I'm going to be watching really closely is independent designers. So New York's independent designers are arguably some of the best in the world, and New York has a history of making really strong cultural statements. A year ago, I'm sure we all remember the mud fight from Elena Velez. This was a commentary against the sanitized, kind of one-dimensional view of women that we typically see on the runway. Yes, it was controversial, but it did what it was intended to do. It created a lot of conversation. Conversations about show format, conversation about femininity, how it's portrayed in fashion also. Hopefully it also sold some clothes for her because the tailoring and the corsetry was truly incredible. So those are some of the things that I'm looking forward to see how New York compares to what we just saw in Copenhagen. Proenza Schuler just kicked things off yesterday with a really beautiful show full of lots of wearable, very chic looks, which is such a great start to the week. My name is Katie Irving. I'm the founder of Moonshot. We're a fashion and concept innovation studio. I'm also a member of the board, a vetted community of C-suite talent from fashion, beauty, and many other industries. Follow along with us over the next week as we cover New York Fashion Week. You'll be hearing from experts across the board, providing commentary and analysis as the shows start to roll in. So now let's take it to the comments. Let me know which shows are you excited to see at New York Fashion Week.